Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we are at the Suburban Collection, part of Lithia, and Ted, mobile service is on our minds.
Mobile service is at the top of the menu. And Sarah, we have some of the leaders in our industry. I'd like to ask each of them to introduce themselves and tell us what they do, starting with Karl. Wait.
Hi, my name is Karl Murphy. I'm the CEO and founder of Spiffy. We provide mobile infrastructure for dealerships, software, and van outfits.
I'm Ed Roberts, COO and GM of Bozard Ford Lincoln in San Augustine, Florida.
Jim Elder. I'm a general manager for four Ford dealerships in the Southeast Michigan here and a Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram store.
Mark Mickens, I'm the Director of Retail Services for ES3 Automotive.
Corey Blackwell, also with Spiffy and EVP of Business Development.
Well, and Jim, I want to come to you first because the Suburban Collection's mobile service is really cutting edge, and we're seeing a lot of evolution of how this is happening across the industry. So, how does the Suburban Collection's mobile service bring the shop to the customer?
I think it's evolved. We're pretty much in the infancy stages of it right now still. We've been at it for probably 5 years. But, in the first thing you think of with mobile service is service department, right? But really where it starts is both in the service department and in the variable side as well. So it's the team that really promotes it all the way throughout. It's more of a 360-degree approach to it, where as we're selling cars, we're promoting mobile service, right? It's an added benefit. And then in the service advisors, it's really taking a load off of them with the phones and talking to the customers and going to them, right? And offering that up because it's new pretty much in the Southeast Michigan area, and people get excited to hear about it and that we offer it.
And Ed, I'd love to get your follow up on it too, because you've had growing mobile service empire down in the south of Florida. How have you seen the customer react to having the shop really come to them?
It's removing the friction of car ownership. And for so long, we've forced people to go through what we want them to do at the car dealer, at our dealers, and they don't want to come there. And then so when we force them to come there, then we got to figure out how to get them to do this and how to get them to do that. But when we remove that friction and we go to their place of comfort, whether it's work, old home, whatever that may be, then the level of trust, you start at a different foundation, and you're able to build that trust a lot faster.
And Mark, we're seeing this evolve from not just, domestic brands here. We're seeing a lot of different OEMs taking on mobile service and thinking about this experience.
Right. I work a lot with luxury brand, and when you think about it, mobile service should be a natural transition for a luxury brand, right? You should be the top service person, in the space, but it does help you sell cars, right?
Oh, it sure does.
So it's all about retention now too. Everybody's fighting for a smaller pie, and you can, if you can, differentiate yourself from your competition. Once somebody has a mobile service done, they're not going to want to give that up on their next car purchase, right? If you do it, you're pretty much going to capture it. So it does help you sell cars.
Absolutely.
And Karl, one of the things that I think has been most important about this entire process really is the support the dealer gets to initiate mobile service and really enable that experience for the customer.
Yeah, I think from our standpoint, we're obviously providing software to dealerships because it's critical for the scalability. There's dealers like Ed that are moving, 30, 40 vans a day across a large part of a state. To get there and to optimize that and do that profitably and efficiently, you need technology to do that. A service advisor can run 2 or 3 vans, and then at some level, you're just never going to get beyond that because of the scalability of the human versus sort of the automations.
And Troy, we're seeing more and more customers really, expect this kind of level of service because as everyone's mentioned so far, having that comfort of being able to do it right in your driveway, it's a lot different than coming to the dealership.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday I was fortunate to spend some time at Jim's store right across the street here. And what was impressive, I chatted with the service director this morning, and he had 11 appointments yesterday. I don't know about you, it was freezing yesterday. I was in California, and being here and then them operating, but there's an appetite at Jim's store there, and but 11 customers yesterday is big.
Ed, I want to ask you first, two things. Number one, what kind of repairs or maintenance can you do in somebody's driveway? And second, as has been mentioned here on the panel, you run a large volume, you've got 40 plus vehicles. How important is that software component to being able to scale and to be able to continue to build a business?
Well, a lot of times we ask ourselves, what can we do in field? And what we should be asking ourselves is, what can't we do? because if you look at it from that lens, you can certainly find a lot more that you can do. And another thing that I tell people a lot is go walk through your service department, and every vehicle that's being worked on in your service department without being lifted up, without the lift being set on, is things that you can do and build. And when you look at it from that lens, we're doing software updates, we're doing diagnosis and repairs of light repairs, all kinds of maintenance items. But we can do about 80% of what these vehicles need in field. And then from a scalability standpoint, and Karl hit it on the head, one advisor can handle 2 or 3 trucks pretty effectively, but you cannot handle 12 trucks through 3 advisors or 4 advisors consistently the same way. So that's where you need some technology to help with efficiencies and tie those things together to where you can deliver a consistent process.
I'm going to ask Karl and Troy to weigh in on that, but first, let me come to Mark and then Jim. Mark, again, any difference on the kind of services you can perform? I know you were early on the mobile service.
I'm with Ed though. I think you have to decide what the cat is first. You know, I mean, and you really do need to develop the menu, really when you get into it, and evolve the menu too. You know,
Yeah.
New recalls come out, new technology comes out. You know, we're so far advanced from where I was. You know, when I started, just from a technology standpoint, right? The software makes you more efficient. The connectivity we can put in the vans now allows you to, you know, really to program a wider range of things that you need to do. So that's, you know, always evolving. So I'm with Ed though. I think it's what you can't do, you know, and safety first, right? Like, you know, safety's a big thing. And, you know, through some really good tooling, engineering changes that have been made, we've come up with some really good tooling features that can make it safer for someone to lift the car if they want to. So, you know, some good advances. I mean, we keep advancing every year.
Like that. Jim, you first.
You know, I really don't think there's any limitations when it comes to mobile service, right? So if you can look at it, you know, from a mile high view, when there is heavy repair that needs to be done, obviously we like to have the cars in the shop to do that for safety reasons and other reasons. But at the same time, there is some constraints when it comes to shop throughput. So if we can send the mobile van out to a customer, get it diagnosed, and understand really what the true problem is, or parts, then the efficiency works all the way around. So those heavy repairs could get diagnosed even at, you know, at home level or from the garage at home. So, you know, there's really no limitations. It's all about efficiency. It's all about throughput and really, you know, the customer experience. And that's where it's, you know, my goal is to never have anybody in my waiting room, you know. And then I went to actually Central Florida and visited a store and their mobile operation. And he took me to his waiting room. He goes, listen, there's nobody here for a reason because all our vans are out and about. And I'm like, you know, I never thought of it that way. And I love it. So that's my goal.
You bring up shop throughput too. I think that's the unmeasured metric.
Absolutely.
Right? Like how much more capacity have I created by not having some of that stuff in my store? You know,
Yep.
measure that.
Absolutely.
Well, how much more are you putting through your shop because of?
For sure. I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than a customer comes to your repair facility thinking that the repair is going to be done only to think that we have to order parts. So why should that ever happen, right? So if we get that phone call and somebody's having issues with their car, we can deploy the van in a perfect world, diagnose, understand what part needs to be ordered, and then the next time we go pick up their car or we can fix it right in their driveway. So, you know, it's just a better customer experience all the way around.
Karl, the one thing that every one of these mobile service dealers has in common, they all started with one van. Okay, they had one vehicle, and then the 2, then the 3, then the 5, and then you know what's happened since then.
Right.
How important on the scalability side, because they likely will scale once they have success, you know, is that software component to be able to offer all the things that a consumer and a dealership would expect.
Yeah, so the software, in addition to creating automation, it creates a process, right? And so if you start with one van and you build a digital process, then the scalability is much more generic and easier. If you build a manual process around 2 or 3 vans, you can get there, you can add another human. Ed did this. Hey, we have 4 vans. Okay, we need another service advisor. Okay, we have 8 vans. We need another service advisor. You know, when I first met Ed and his team, they're like, our problem is this office. We have all these awesome service advisors. I don't really want to hire any more of them, and I can't find them. I need to make them more efficient. They're our obstacle to scalability. And so the advantage for a new dealer is when you build that software, when you bring software in, it builds a process which is scalable. And so it makes the second van, the third van, the fourth van so much easier. And we see dealers, our customers are adding vans in the range of 4 to 6 months. So month one van, and then from a business growth standpoint, at a reasonable path, like not super amount of marketing, not Herculean efforts, they can add another van sort of month 4, 5, month 10, month 12. And so within a year, they're sort of, if they have an aggressive program where we have ambitious goals, they could be at 3 or 4 vans pretty easily without like, hey, these are not, again, Herculean efforts on the management team.
Boy. No, I want to bring Jim on the road with me. I think he had the perfect response. So I love his answer. I love that, anything you can perform that's not on a lift can be done. I think Ed has several examples where he put some AC technology on the back of one of the vans and can go do that work in hot Florida. So, but yeah, Jim, you might have a part-time gig there. Go on with us.
I think something for dealers, if you're a dealer or a principal out there thinking about starting, I think when you think about the customer, consumers versus fleets is a different choice.
Yes.
I think you can be much more aggressive with a fleet. You go to an HVAC company, they have a fenced in lot, there's no traffic, there's no kids around, right? Ripping a bumper off there is like, that's easy. Right now, you want to do it in your customer's driveway. That may be something that's different. I got to think about it differently, right? And so we often talk about customers. What's the consumer sequence of services or list, and then what's the food side?
Well, what it is for us with your software, Ed and I know this, is data is king, right? So when are you going to add the next fan? So the data you provide us,
Right,
through efficiency, is that helps you scale your business.
100%.
Correct?
100%.
Mark, I want to come to you. Quick lightning round, just kind of thinking about the experience that you've described with customers, and what would you say has been the most surprising feedback that you've had so far?
Recently, Troy and I talked about this, last week. We look at a lot of studies in my role now. We look at data. It's math driven for us. And there was recently a study that we shared together that 92% of people that had a mobile service done was likely to have another one done. Now, I was a dealer principal for a long time. I don't know I did 92% of anything. Right? So if something's telling me it's going to be 92% my retention, why aren't you doing it? Right? I mean, so that's the biggest surprise for me. And the fact that, we look at a lot of survey data. I haven't seen a bad mobile service. I mean, I'm sure there's one out there, but, I haven't seen one. I know maybe you can tell me that you had one, but, not too many if you did, right?
Right, exactly. I think again, it goes back to the customer experience, and it's and again, we're kind of working through our first cycle of people actually going out and visiting and doing mobile service, so it's a wow factor, right? So when we first started at my stores, I actually put myself on the service advisor line and answered phone calls and the incoming calls, and it was amazing. I really, and I hate to admit this, I don't know that much about cars, but I can sell the customer experience. And the first thing I had to say is, hey, listen, what if you don't bring it to us? What if I come to you and my mobile service van? And the first, word was, wow, you guys can do that? I'm like, absolutely. So then it kind of got my brain rethinking and looking at it, is if we're looking at all our scheduled appointments coming in the store, number one, you really look at the cars that are coming in that we love to buy out of our service lane as well. And then going to them, and it all kind of encompasses and ties everything together with what you're trying to do in the back end and the front end and the customer retention and service and getting your repeat customers and sales. So I look at it from a whole 360 view.
And feedback wise, what have you seen be the most surprising?
Well, our customers don't typically get to see much about how service is done. And it isn't just the owner of the vehicle, it's their kids, and it's getting them involved and giving them a quick overview of the van and what we're there to do and those things. And to watch a kid help rotate tires or whatever it may be is just enlightening to get them involved. When they get them involved, and they're also preaching that, hey, why do they come back? So it's getting that customer involved as well.
Karl, Troy?
Yeah, I think the thing that's most interesting is that the technician becomes the face of the brand, and that's new, right? Technicians are in the back; they don't talk to customers. As we coach dealers to come on board, like, look, your technicians need customer service skills, and it's an opportunity. And customers are inspired by seeing people show up, do physical work, and deliver high quality service. And so it's this extra brand accelerant that the dealer has by sending the technician to their driveway, sending someone who is engaging and personal. They don't need to be like the best salesperson in the world. They just need to smile, say hello, say thank you, be clean and neat, pick up, and just do great work. But doing that in the driveway has such an impact on the customer retention And it you know, the metrics out of Bozar Ford are spectacular compared to the industry. And it's because they're going out and doing these things. You know, they have 40 technicians hitting 200, 150, 200 customers a day in their driveway, right? It's not like they're even moving through the building, right? And so I think that's the thing that's super exciting. And you're going to see that more dealers talk about that, because it's like month 6 when they sort of see that.
And I'll just close it out with, it's driving retention. And, Ed has one of the highest retentions in the nation at 70%, which is outstanding. And we know that mobile's contributing and driving to that number. So there's certainly a convenience. And once you get one mobile service done, your next service, that's what you want. So we're super excited about directionally where mobile is heading. Grateful to be on a panel again like this today to talk more about mobile.
And Troy, we're grateful to you and Spiffy for all that you do for the industry, and for these gentlemen who have really been the pioneers in mobile service. Mark, I think back to the early days, when we were asked how this was going to pencil. And, I think we've worked far beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it's a business case now. We can carry a business case to any dealer principally and say, if you invest, you'll get your return on invest, if that's what we're concerned with, right? And you don't want to miss it, because, we miss. That's why it's difficult, right? You don't want this to be the next difficult, but we should keep our customers and all our customers with good service, and that's what this provides.
One of the hottest things happening now in retail automotive. I want to thank Mark Mickens, Ed Roberts, Jim Elder, and the team from Spiffy here. We're at Lithia, the Suburban Collection. Sarah and I are here in Troy, Michigan, and we will be right now.